There are several business costs you need to budget for when purchasing a business, in addition to the purchase price of the actual business. Let's take a look at them. Number 1, transfer duty on business assets. This applies to Queensland, Western Australia, and the Northern Territory. In those states, duty is payable by the buyer to the Office of State Revenue and is calculated on the value of all assets of the business, which may include goodwill, any statutory business licenses, the business name, rights under the franchise agreement, supply agreement, intellectual property, and personal property. In Tasmania, Victoria, the Australian Capital Territory, New South Wales, and South Australia, there is no transfer duty on business assets. Number 2, GST. If the business is not running or closes prior to settlement, it will no longer be considered a going concern, and GST will apply to the purchase price, which means the seller will have to pay 10% of the purchase price to the tax office unless the contract specifically states the purchase price is GST exclusive. Where the contract is GST exclusive and GST does apply, then the buyer pays the GST, but can claim it back in the first business activity statement. To get the concession, both buyer and seller must be registered for GST. The contract must specifically say the sale is a going concern and the seller must sell everything that is necessary to run the business. Number 3, lease costs. The seller is responsible for payment of the landlord's cost in consenting to the lease assignment and gaining mortgagee consent where necessary. The buyer will be responsible for replacing the bank guarantee, which is generally the sum of 3 months' rent. Number 4, stock. Unless the business is purchased as a walk-in, walk-out, which means you get absolutely everything as part of the purchase price, then in any other occasion, you will have to do a stock take the day before or the day of settlement so the buyer can pay the seller for the value of the stock that will be provided with the business. Number 5, ongoing contracts. If the seller has entered into contracts for equipment, then the buyer will either need to take over these arrangements and assign the agreements, or replace those items if they will be returned to the supplier, for example, coffee machine rental agreement. This may require a bond to the supplier or a capital outlay to replace the machine. Number 6, employee costs. Depending on what special conditions are drafted into the agreement, you need to be conscious of clauses that involve employee entitlements. Some contracts will provide that the seller is only responsible for 70% of the employee entitlements at the date of settlement, and that this amount is adjusted on settlement figures. Number 7, legal and accounting fees. It is important to budget an amount for both a lawyer and an accountant, whether you are buying or selling. Number 8, business broker fees. Where the seller is using a broker, it is likely that the business brokerage fees have been added into the purchase price, so although the buyer will not be paying these directly, they are in one way or another still paying for the broker. Number 9, licenses and other fees. There may be other costs such as application fees for a food safety license or for transfer of other licenses. It is a good idea to prepare a business plan and budget for your business banker so that they can see that you have considered all costs plus working capital requirements.